Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Hope you're having a wonderful time wherever you may be in the world. Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Sounds of the Diaspora, Artist to Artist, a conversation with Dion Parson. Our guest today hails from our neighboring island of Puerto Rico, and we're very excited to have him on. He's a multi-instrumentalist. He does it all, composer, arranger, educator, and we're so happy to have him on the show tonight. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Edgar Abraham to the show.
How you doing? Hello, Dion. Hello to all our friends. It's an amazing pleasure to be here with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us this evening, Edgar. I know you're very busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to come on and talk with us.
No, thanks to you. Thanks for the invitation. I really appreciate it.
Great. How are things in Puerto Rico? How you doing down there?
No, there is a lot of music now. We have the amazing festival, the San Sebastian Festival. This is one of the most amazing festivals now in this season. We have a huge carnival. There's a lot of music happening. Also, there's a new movement of new generation of jazz. There's some new jazz clubs are rising now in Puerto Rico. So we are so happy for that because people have a perception of jazz in multiple ways. But the thing is that in this area, the musicians are taking care of the movement. This is something that we are so optimistic in this way.
Right.
So I am having the opportunity to know a lot of young talent musicians.
Mhm.
So the movement it's moving. Everything is in a new direction, but things are moving because we all love music.
Great. Well, I'm happy to
A
hear
lot.
so many positive things are happening down there in Puerto Rico. So continued success on that level. But you know, I am so excited because you're like the first guest that we've had on the show that plays so many instruments. You play like 15,
No,
16 instruments, and we're gonna get to that. But let share with our audience.
as
I
I
mean,
told you, I try. As I told you before, right.
well,
It's
well,
huge
we'll check. We'll check
responsibility.
you. We'll check you out in a minute. But let our audience know how did you get started? Share with us how you
let
got
me
started.
let me I s- Let me be honest with you. I am a sax player. The saxophone is my main instrument, but I started to play violin when I was fiddle. It was around 3 or 5 years. But I take the saxophone seriously because I was doing music from. I have my influence from my dad. He's a viola player from
Mhm.
the Puerto Rico Symphony for almost 30 years. Now
Okay.
he continues playing, but
Mhm.
now he's retired from the symphony. So I have the influence from the classical background and also the Latin jazz, because I have a lot of friends that love jazz. Also, my grandfather was really fan of jazz. He have the LPs of Miles
Yes.
for many musicians. He have the lot of he was always having music in our house. So the thing of the multi instrumentalist to be a multi comes because I want to understand the language of all the musicians. For
Okay.
example, I start to play piano because I want to understand deeply the theory of music,
Mhm.
and then I start to study bass because I want to know the root. I just have an idea of how musicians think.
Mhm.
because I can have a deep communication, especially in jazz, because
Right.
jazz is all about communication. You know how we can swing together,
Right.
even if I have a friend in Asia or I have a friend in Mexico. They have different backgrounds, different experiences. Even if jazz have a root that we all respect as the roots of the blues, the root of the Charlie Parker, Cannonball Adderley, when you
Mhm.
study the master Coltrane, Sonny Rollins. But in other way, in other countries, musicians that have other perspective. It happens in Brazil with Antonio Carlos Jobim. It
Mhm.
happens in Europe with Igor Stravinsky. Happen in many places in the world. Also, Chopin was a Frederick Chopin was a jazz player for me because he was creating harmonies at the moment. Bela
Mhm.
Bartok, Luciano Perio, Stockhausen, all that genius are creating. They have something to say. And as a Puerto Rican, I have the background of the four principal rhythms that are the bomba drum, the
Mhm.
plena, the hand play, the European influence that this come from the danza, and also the countryside of Puerto Rico, the center of the islands. So I start to play with many musicians and learn from them, and I decide to learn a little bit more. And to be honest, it's a mission to. I am an eternal student. I always are studying my instrument and doing my best in the clarinet, in the flute, in the saxophone. Also, I respect, the roots and the technique, because every instruments have their complicated things to do.
Right. Right.
But at least I have the opportunity to learn from not from my principal instrument, because I study classical music, but from other instruments. I have the opportunity to really know how the basics of how they think, so I can play with you only a concert with drums and saxophone. We can do an amazing performance, because we can have a conversation. We
Right.
understand each other, and it's
Right.
something that I love. Music is not something that I do. It's what I am, as a
Right.
first as a human being, and then as a musician.
Nice. Nice. Well, I love your philosophy. I think it's beautiful to internalize everything that much and then bring it back out. And you mentioned playing just with saxophone and drums, and being a true improviser. So whatever the context is, you have enough knowledge where you can create something within that environment, which I love.
Sure. So
Yeah.
also happen with other musicians. For example, Ronald Kirk. I am
Yes.
very fan of Ronald Kirk. Well, I don't play like him, but definitely he was you know he was a genius, that he create colors with
Hmm.
music, or with the clarinet, with the saxophone, with two, three saxophone. When I saw Ronald Clear for my first time, I say, "Whoa! I have I need to go back to my study room." Because it's I did those are genius for from the holy world.
Right. Right.
Also happens with Cecil Taylor. When
Hmm.
we talk about jazz, Cecil Taylor, for me, is something. I When I hear Cecil Taylor, for me, it's like the music from the Barroco
Baroque,
genre.
Baroque era, yes.
He played Baroque era.
Hmm.
He's still alive all the time, because sometimes people can perceive dance music or complicated rhythms, but in the heart of the human being, I what I hear is enlightenment,
Right. Right.
because he has something to say. Even
Mhm.
if a musician's, it doesn't matter the level of the musician. I think that every musician has something to say,
Right.
and it's in this. This is the beauty of jazz, because when I start to hear artists like that, it really touch me and say, this is something that I have a serious commitment with music, and I have
Mhm.
a serious responsibility as a professor and as an eternal student. I told you before,
Mhm.
for always try to get my own voice, trying to get something different to share with the people that really appreciate the art, in this case with the jazz and contemporary music.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And when we will listen to your music, but you can hear the heavy classical influence in your music because you're classically trained, and you
Yes,
also teach at the Conservatory of Puerto Rico, and so you're big in education, but you have a good foundation, as you mentioned, learning the technique of the instruments. That's very important, because once you have
yes.
that foundation and the technique in place, it allows you to be able to play different genres. And that's one of the things that I enjoyed listening to your music about. You cover a wide spectrum of music. It's not just one thing you're doing. You have the classical, like you mentioned, the bomba, the plena, the danson. You have the jazz components, some avant-garde in there. So pretty versatile. I like that. It's just it leads for a great conversation musically.
No, definitely, because as we are in our era, when we was in the study back then, the jazz schools was not, the jazz was not so introduced in the academia.
Right,
It's it
right.
it for example, Miguel Zenon studied classical music with me. David Sanchez as well.
Mhm.
Henry Cole study. I studied with Henry Cole, the drummer. He was
Right.
studied timpani, xylophone, all the concerto for Paul Creston, marimba concerto, all the Duke French snare,
The different
methods.
grips. The different grips. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, because this is the root. But in the other way, the thanks for the academia, the jazz now have a structure in the to share with the new generations.
Yes.
So sax player doesn't have to be in a club to 3 a.m.
Mhm.
looking at all the other guys. When you have YouTube and the Berkeley, the whole Berkeley selection of John of Bergonzi, the professor Bergonzi, on and many educators that create a road, a whole road for the next, but the new generation. So this is fascinating. This is something that we can be talking all night.
Oh yeah. There's a number of resources out there, which, like you mentioned, when we came up, we didn't have that, and they're now available thanks to the internet. You could go online and get all of that information that that's out there, so which is good. The other thing too, you're talking about resources coming from an island, from this, the Caribbean, Afro-Caribbean diaspora. Culturally, you have a whole, before you even get to jazz, you have so much information happening on your island musically before we even get to
Yes.
jazz. That's the beautiful thing. I enjoy talking to other musicians from the Caribbean, because you have so much resources to pull from. Before we even get to jazz, you have the salsa, the merengue, the danzón, the plena. You have all of those things that's happening culturally there, and then you go to the conservatory, then you study all the classical music, and then you mix that together, and then once you start pursuing jazz, it's a lot of information that you have that you have going on, which is great.
Yeah, this is great, yeah, because also that happens in the drums in Guadalupe and other islands. For example, the bomba have more than 20 different rhythms, and
Yeah.
it's very interesting. But one of the rhythms is called lero.
Mhm.
It's lero. It's come from le rose. It's
The
from the
rose. Okay.
French because
Right.
the Afro Puerto Rican dialogue will change, and the rhythm is the same. It's the same rhythm from the right of the jazz. So it's something that it's like an enlightenment, and all it
Right.
happens in Brazil. It's happening in San Thomas. It's happening in Martinica, in San Trinidad. It's something amazing, the Caribbean. But the most beautiful thing is how as Caribbeans how we have this amazing information, and all the time I learn from everybody these
Hmm.
different colors and structure that I just want to continue study every day, and do my best to learn from our
Beautiful,
roots.
beautiful, beautiful. So you're studying and you're playing a lot. You're on tour, you're touring Europe, you're touring America, you're doing all of these things, but you compose. and
Yes,
and what's your compositions are very, very beautiful and unique. Conceptually, when you're composing, what are you thinking about? Or you do you draw from, do you compose on a piano, you compose on a saxophone? What's your
I
conceptual?
actually last week I was writing an article for 10 ways of compositions.
Okay.
10 roads, because for example some friends that I know that are not uh, musical trained but are singers, and they compose with letters. There is a way of composer. For example, people like to compose by their own instrument. Sometimes I compose with the piano.
Hmm.
Sometimes I compose from my mind,
Okay.
and other ways I compose from the guitar, and I sometimes I compose from the bass
Okay.
or compose from the drum, or depends of the drum, because with just one single drum you can create a whole symphony just from one single drum.
Mhm.
And it's as you know, they are uh, whole concertos, a sonata for one snare,
Yeah.
and symphony, or maybe one drum. So even if for I prefer, of course, the piano give you a structure, a harmonic structure to
Right.
compose music, but it doesn't mean that you can create something different with your saxophone or with the flute. So the most important the mood to create music is to be in peace, because sometimes this is the most difficult situation. For musician there is no ideal situation. You can have the best studio, the best microphone, you can have the best engineer, and if you are not in the mood to record, it's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but
You have,
but
you have
you
to be
have the,
ready.
well, the supraphonic snare, the best DW or the great beautiful snare, and and you are so tired because you have a conversation at home or you have something to do, and
Hmm.
you say, let's try tomorrow, and you drink a coffee on the morning, and you and the other day you do the from one take the best track ever.
Right.
So I think that the most important thing is to have to be in the mood. Other thing that musicians I also recommend is to try different things, not only with music, only to have information from poetry,
Right.
and also try, if you don't have to be an artist, but you can try your own exercises with art, because all arts have a relation, and I learned from a lot of amazing friends that are artists, are plastic artists, painters,
Mm-hmm.
and at the same time they are professional painters, but they are amateurs musicians, and they
Okay.
like to also at the backwards, they like to play a single melody in the guitar, or hear movement of the suite of Bach in the cello, and say, okay, now I get inspired.
You're right.
And sometimes you have to do music even if you don't want to, but I think that this is why we have to work every day hard in our instruments, even if we have to play a single note, or write you know a single measure, just to continue every day, even if you don't want to.
Right. You have to do something every day. Well, that's great, man. I admire your concept and your in-depth quest for your passion for learning. So, as a composer, you've written a number of songs, and I would like to take the time to play one of your songs, so for our audience can check out and hear who
Great.
Edgar Abraham is, man. So, we have La Maquina. We would love to play that song for our audience.
La Máquina, sure. This is from this is a history from the train that used to work in the past in Puerto Rico, and that which was part of the of they do the what was part of the movement of that time, but there was a train that goes to all Puerto Rico in the past, and
Oh,
it's
wow. Okay.
something that this is the máquina, this is the machine, the old
Okay.
machine that supplies the sugar cane to the industries in the Caribbean. So this is part of our anthropology and history.
Okay. Well, let's check it out. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's you and Miguel Zenon.
Yes. My dear friend Miguel, I sent him a amazing a big hug to him. This is in our studio here in San Juan.
Mm,
We record La Máquina in one take. We
nice.
just make a couple of improvisations in the session.
Hmm.
It was an amazing because I know Miguel when we was in high school,
Okay.
and he is 4 or 5 years older. And
Mhm.
when I remember him that he was studying classical music and Charlie Parker in 12th grade, and me
Okay.
and me as well. And I said,
Yeah.
"What happened to this little kid? He's playing Charlie Parker. He's in 8th grade." But we was really fan of Charlie Parker all the time here. The Bird, all the cassettes
Hmm. Hmm. That's
and
great, man.
the playing alongs. And I remember that he went to Boston, young, very young. He was around 18 or 20 years, and that time I was a little bit younger, so I decided to I have the opportunity to study with Eugene Rosseau. He was a professor of Indiana University. He was
Hmm.
doing some saxophone workshops in Wisconsin.
Okay.
In some summer camps, I went twice, and he, we take different roads. It happens in the life from friends, and many years later, I saw Miguel doing their projects. He decided to move to United States.
Hmm.
I decided to stay in Puerto Rico, but we have an amazing friendship, and that's what we decided to record together. We also record 4 solo duos
Okay.
for
Yeah.
versions of La Máquina in a duo format, more classic and avant-garde stuff. But definitely, it was an amazing experience because you have a big heart to
Hmm.
make art. The most beautiful thing that I love from Miguel Sonon as a musician is that he's very sincere. He have a big
Hmm.
heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that this is the most. This is why he's very successful. First, because he's a virtuoso, he's an amazing musician. But I think that the most beautiful thing that he created is he have it because he have a big heart to play
Yeah.
music, and
Yeah.
we share this. We was so happy here in the studio, and we can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. Well, it sounds great. It sounds great. Who else is on that recording?
Yes, the conga player was a great friend of mine from Cataño, Puerto Rico. It's called Alfredito Rodriguez. He was in Virgin Islands last year, a couple of years also. And the drummer is a young talent guy. He's called Gabriel Rodriguez. He's
Okay.
a amazing drummer. And I record the bass and the piano.
Okay. That's you on the bass
Not
and piano.
not at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man,
Possible.
I love that song. That's one of my favorites.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Great
but it was
composition too. Yeah.
yeah.
I can hear the
Also,
train. I can hear the train. Ooh, da, doo, da, da, doo, da. I can hear the train in the melody. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
also in YouTube they are the versions of classical versions of this
Okay.
composition. They have original footage of the trains of this time that was in Puerto Rico. Because those trains was part of the economic structure of sugar cane that
Right.
that also the in the era that was trying to build the economy in Puerto Rico. So there's have a nostalgic thing happening.
Mhm.
But definitely, it was such a great experience.
Nice, nice. Well, you did a great job paying homage
Thank
to Makina. So that's great, man. And the other song you have here that I'm really interested in, you did John Coltrane's Giant Steps.
you. Giant steps.
You did
This
Giant
was in the
Steps.
pandemic. This was in the pandemia.
This was during the pandemic.
In the pandemic thing, and I say, well, I can play with any of my friends. Let's figure how I can do this. And I do I made this this is an arranger for small combo, four saxophones and comb and quartet. And I it was a long journey because every instrument, I don't record this in the same day. I record this video in 3 weeks because I have to train in every instrument
Hmm.
before the take,
Okay.
because it have a lot of chops and things. So and I have to study the drums very hard from 1 week to get
Hmm.
the best performance
Right.
the best what I can do in my capacity as a drummer. So
Right.
also in the congas, I am playing different congas, and sometimes is I have to be in shape to do it. So I take my time because I was in the pandemic and I wanted
Mhm.
to do something very serious of Coltrane, because it's have a hundreds and thousands of versions
Right.
of this of Giant Steps is something. And also as the most the other composition from Maestro Coltrane. So I decided, hey, I will do my best in as a sax player, as an arranger, and also as a multi-instrumentalist, for always the saxophone as a protagonist. So this is was a keep me busy on the pandemic time.
It was a labor of love. So we're
Yeah,
gonna check out your arrangement, Edgar Abraham's arrangement of Giant Steps.
okay, appreciate it.
You gotta love it. You gotta
Yeah,
love
no,
it.
thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank
man.
you.
I like how you manipulated it, pip pop 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 pip pop pip pop pip pop
Yeah,
pop,
but I try. I this
melody.
is yeah, yeah. What
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
rhythmic playing with the clave with also with the same structure of
Mm.
Coltrane
Right.
of my
Yeah, yeah.
Coltrane. Pa pa pi pa pi pa pa pi pa 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 pi pa 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 pi pa pa.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And then the
But
Congo playing, you had kind of like a 1-1 co going on the pinking, like on the
see,
Congo. That's yeah, 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 yeah. Man, that's
so
incredible. That's
there was
incredible.
the idea, the frame. This, no, thanks, Dion.
Yeah.
Coming from you, uh, it's an honor for me.
Oh man,
So
listen. You put
definitely,
you put some time into that. I can tell. That's not easy. You put some time into that. And also, you look good, man. You sharp. You look good.
I try. In Christmas Eve, sometimes you get a little bit more, but you also we as a musicians we have to be always walking and do our best.
Mhm.
Mostly from health, from this to be in
Yeah.
shape and continue our journey as a musician.
Oh, definitely, definitely,
See,
man.
see. But
Yeah.
definitely the passion of music, it takes you everywhere. I mean that the as sometimes people say, "Hey, Edgar, why do you play different instruments?" I say, "Well, because I would like to have a better communication with 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 the bands, with my friends, musicians, friends.
Yeah.
I want to, for example, if I play with you and you do something, I would like to be part of your melody as a drummer. I would like to have a fun conversation. I learned a lot uh, from many artists. I remember a couple of years ago that Pat Metheny was in Puerto Rico with his trio,
Mhm.
and he made an incredible solo with Antonio Sanchez,
Yeah.
only guitar and drums.
Mhm.
Many times he do, but see this in live, it was a whole communication also with the bass player, and it also happened with Miles that he have a communication with the trumpet with the guitar player. It's a
Mhm.
language. It's a universal language,
It's a universal language. Yes, it's beautiful. And
and I
and
will learn more. I
oh
would
yeah,
like to.
you like you said, you're a
Everyone.
student of life, and it shows. You're a lifelong student of the music, and it shows. But yeah, man, I like it. I like it. I'm really inspired by that.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. No, and definitely
So
we also. Mhm. Yes.
go no, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just also I would like to let you know, and also our friends in the podcast, that last 2 days I have the new album of boleros from Valentine's season. It's
Hmm.
called Delirio, and it's available now in Spotify and all the digital platforms.
What's it called? Can you repeat the name again?
Delirio, boleros.
Bolivio.
Delirio,
Bolero.
Delirio is D E L I R IOS. Delirios. This is a
Delirio.
famous bolero.
Okay.
Delirios. It's a famous ballad from the Latin American feeling movement of the 40s in a jazz style. And also I record a quartet, me playing the brushes and piano thing, but
Mhm.
in other way. It's more intimate. So I just
Okay.
want to let you know. so you can share with all our friends in Virgin Islands, in New York, and in all Hollywood. So I want to also to say to everybody, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here in this amazing program, and
You're welcome.
to share with music with all the friends.
Nice, nice, great. Well, we'll definitely promote the new CD of boleros called Delirios. So we'll
Yes.
definitely talk about that, once we're wrapping up as well. But I'd like to continue with another song of yours, "Born to Win." This is one of your another original, and
Yes.
you want to just describe it real quick?
Well, this was one of the first song that I record all the instruments. The one of the first video that I do this.
Hmm.
What I would like to share this with the whole world, because even if we have a difficult situation now in the world, we everyone, it doesn't matter the situation. We all born to win. We all born to be happy, and I
Right.
wish that everyone have a positive way of living, and that's what I want to inspire everyone.
Hmm. Great, great. So let's check out "Born to Win." Nice, nice, nice. Yeah, man.
Love the 6/8. I love the 6/8. This is one of my
Yeah.
favorites. Yeah,
Hmm.
definitely. You know, Dion, I start to record. I this video in one day. This was in
Okay.
one day.
Mm.
It was before years before the pandemic. I started in 3 p.m. and I finished 9 a.m. in the
The
from
next
the other
morning.
day. And next
Yeah.
morning, yeah, the whole cameras and the guys. This was in the studio for Eduardo Cabra. Eduardo Cabra is an amazing friend, producer. He produced many artists. He was the producer for a urban band called Calle 13. And also,
Okay.
he
I
have a
guess it. Yeah.
beautiful studio and Calle 13 and Residente in the urban scene. But
Mhm.
he said, he very friend of mine said, "Hey Edgar, just recording my studio. We make it happen." And thanks to my friend, we made this possible. This was before I have my studio, but
Mm.
definitely was the moment with the friends. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what I like, I mean, to check you out on the bata too, that's not an easy instrument to play. So you have the bata, you have the timbales, you have the congos, you have all of these hand drums going on, and you have the 6/8, pattern going too. So all the layers, just kind of laid in right. Yeah, I enjoy that.
Yeah, and also the respect because it has a popular tradition and it also have a religious tradition as
Mhm.
well. And I even if I respect all religions, but specifically the Yoruba religion have
Mhm.
a enormous uh, gammas and combinations and freedoms, very complicated as you tell me, and it's
Mhm.
something that I always are studying. Sorry, to get the roots of the tambores batas. It's very interesting and something that I have to always study and deeply be very profound in this kind of music.
Oh yeah, because you're playing the one bata, but it's three, right? There's a family of three.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, I just playing the Ija just
Yeah.
to punch
Yeah.
the also this bata I bought in Cuba
Okay.
years ago. That I have a nostalgic uh,
Yeah.
sentiment. It's a beautiful instrument. But yes, it's the Ija also and the three congas, and I build all the rhythms together.
Okay. Great, great. Well, I can definitely feel that vibe, that love for the six, the dance, all of that's in there. So yeah, man. I'm like I said, it's inspiring. I'll leave it as that. It's inspiring.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your words, Maestro.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
So, um, real quick, we talk about your new CD of boleros called Delirios, and you have some tours that you have coming up. We just tell our audience where you'll be within the next 6 months, 8 months. Where can they go and hear you?
Sure. Well, actually, I have a couple of presentations in Puerto Rico in the Valentine's season. I have
Okay.
a concert here in Puerto Rico in a new jazz club. You should come to visit us. It's called Alegría Jazz Club. It's in Old San Juan in the Cuartel of Vallejo. It's an amazing place, and it's a brand new. Also, friends for our dear virtuoso trombone player William Cepeda. Also, it's working with our guys there, and also I will be in the February 14. Also, I have a big concert from La Máquina City. It will be
Hmm.
on April 5.
Okay.
It's my birthdays also.
Ah,
So
nice, nice.
I will do these are going to be in the Bastion. El Bastión is a beautiful place that supports cultural activities in Old
Okay.
San Juan, and also it's part of the people are in charge. They runs the circus festival, the most amazing the circus festival. They are very serious with this movement of artists, and also they give dance classes. It's such an amazing cultural place that in April 5 I will be in with my quintet. But also in Europe, I will be with a beautiful team that I am working with drummers called Miroslav. Miroslav
Okay.
Musikan is an amazing virtuoso drummer from Poland. I know Miroslav for many years. He came to Puerto Rico to record the tango,
Mhm.
the añoranzas, and also we made a tour in last summer. It was an amazing tour in Poland. People love it because it's the group is called Portal Duo. Portal is like a door, a gate
Mhm.
for many styles. We play fusion, classical music. We incorporating the technology, and
Okay.
also like playing piano and saxophone at the same time. So we made a CD with Maestro Eddie Gomez, the bass player,
Yes.
and we will release this album in April. And also we are preparing the tour with the duo in June. So I will let you know that to our friends in Virgin Islands, and maybe we can go together and share. This the style of our music is a mix of fusion, jazz, classical music with the technology. We create a different color with pedals. So because we are only two musicians, but
Mhm.
thanks for the technology, we can create colors and
Right.
amazing. We played in the Sicilian Museum in Katowice, and also in Kamenik. We play in a festival called Ars Veritas. It was such an amazing experience. We hope to continue for next year.
Great. Great. Well, that's a lot going on, and continue success to you on all of your tours as you continue to promote your recordings and your
Thank
projects.
you. No,
So
thank you
we
so much.
wish you all the best as you travel the world and do that. Do me a favor, man. Please give my best to William Cepeda. I haven't seen him in a long time, and
I will. I will. Of
Henry Cole as well. Amazing drummer.
course.
Seen him
Of course.
in a while since he moved back to Puerto Rico. But you guys are doing some great things in Puerto Rico, and I want to continue to encourage you to do what you're doing, and hopefully you will have some new fans from our audience that will support you and go to your website and check you out, edgarabraham.com. And we wish you all the best. We have one more song that I think we should play before we leave, though. I really want to hear this one. So this is Dame un beso de eso.
Yes. Yes. This is give me a.
Beso de eso.
Eso es.
Yeah, man.
This is with our friends Jimmy.
Yes.
With Jimmy Rivera. This is
Jimmy Rivera. Yeah.
an amazing drummer that we all love here in Puerto Rico.
Mhm.
All the world. You know that Jimmy used to play with Mongo Santa Maria years ago,
Mhm.
and also with Stan Getz once.
Okay.
He told me the stories. Now he's he's still playing and doing music. So just talk with Jimmy is like a master class.
Oh yeah. A lot of history. A lot of history. A lot of history. Well, I'm enjoying it, and there's a lot of tradition and history coming out of what you're doing, all the work that you're doing. So we continue to support you and wish you all the best. Thank you again for being on the show. I can't say it enough because I know you're so busy and you have a lot going on, but you share so much valuable information with our audience. We have some great response. So continued success to you, and we look forward to having you back in the future.
Of course, also here in Puerto Rico, I hope to play with you soon because I love your playing. You're such a virtuoso drummer and amazing artist, and I know that now this amazing project with the Postcat, I know that people are going to be more involved, and I wish you all the best and say hello to my friends in Virgin Islands. Thank you so much.
Will do, will do. Edgar Abraham, thank you for joining us at Sounds of the Diaspora. We really appreciate you. So thank you again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next week as we bring to you a good friend of mine in New York, the wonderful Mr. Steve Kroon, who has a great discography and history, performing with everyone. And Steve will tell you his story next week when you join us. We look forward to seeing you next week at Sounds of the Diaspora, Artist to Artist, a conversation with Dion Parson. Thank you all. Take care.
JBH Boutique Care offers you a unique exclusive membership in our nationwide concierge medical services network. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Eugene Rosseau. I'm double board certified in family and obesity medicine. We pair exclusive personalized care with accessibility and convenience. A better way for you to receive immediate quality medical care. Whether at our main Orlando, Florida office, traveling across the U.S. or visiting the States, we bring you the best medical care without waiting for an appointment. Become a member today by calling 407-234-5282 or visit us online at jbhmeg1.com. JBH Boutique Care is proud to sponsor Sounds of the Diaspora, music and conversations with artists, and host Dion Parson every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Source TV Radio Network, WTSN, Washington, D.C.